Sci-fi movie nerds, and welcome to another episode of the Sci-Fi Movie Guy. My name is Mike, and this is our Black Panther review. Now, we're going to start with non-spoilers, and then I'm going to rate the movie, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers in this movie after that, but I'll give you lots of warnings. So if you haven't seen Black Panther, you can watch the first part of this video, no problem. I'm just going to tell you what I think. So, this movie is really, really good. It is so layered. The depth to this movie and the overtones of what's going on in the world today is embodied in this movie. And a lot of the Marvel movies, a lot of the superhero movies, not just Marvel movies, are not done that way. And I think Marvel, again, they've taken it to another level. Now, I compare all the Marvel movies to my favorite one, and my favorite Marvel movie so far is Captain America: Civil War. This movie is on par with that movie, but for different reasons. Captain America: Civil War, we got to see what happened in the comic book of all the Avengers fighting each other, coming together like that. This movie is so good, but in so many different ways than Captain America: Civil War was. So it's really not fair to compare them. This movie, the depth they go to in the characters, so that when something happens to one of these characters, you feel it and you care about them, and they do it so seamlessly in this movie, especially right from the beginning. And again, I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but you care about each and every one of these characters for different reasons. And this is the first Marvel movie where I think the villain was incredible. I've liked some of the villains, like I love Loki and other villains, but this villain, because he didn't feel like he was a villain. To himself, he was not a villain. He was trying to save the world, and those are the best villains. We all know that. When a villain doesn't think they're a villain, they're a villain. And that's Michael B. Jordan. He was amazing in this movie. It also had a minor villain played by Andy Serkis. And that was a completely different type of villain. And it was also great. I love seeing Andy Serkis when he's not doing performance capture. He's an amazing actor all on his own. Michael B. Jordan really, really took this movie for me in so many ways. Chadwick Boseman playing back Black Panther was phenomenal. And then the female cast in this movie, it was so good. We have Lupita Nyong'o in it, Danai Gurira, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing that right. Angela Bassett's in this movie, and these actresses were great. So I want to get into spoilers. I just want you to know that the way I rate my movies is we have must see, go, wait for video, and no. Must see means you have to see this opening weekend. You do not want to be spoiled. Then we have go. Go means, yeah, go to the movie, but you can see it in a couple weeks, but see it in the theaters. Wait for video means, you know what, it was an okay movie, but you can wait till it comes out on Netflix. And then we have no, where this movie is horrible, do not go see it. So this movie definitely is getting a must-see. This is a must-see movie by all accounts, and not just because it's a superhero movie, not just because it's a Marvel movie, but because it is an incredible movie. Again, whoever put this story together was amazing. And I just want to come from the point of view is I didn't know much about Black Panther. I had never read the comics. So I went into this only knowing the Black Panther from Captain America: Civil War. And I fell in love with this character. And now, because we know the rich history of Wakanda from this movie, I'm going to care so much more about this character than I even did in Captain America: Civil War when it comes to the Avengers. So this was perfect timing for a movie like this to come out in the way of the world and what's going on and the messaging that was out there for everybody to just treat everybody with respect and dignity. This movie is going to do hopefully wonders for the world. Whereas it comes to messaging, because a lot of people are going to see this movie, and I hope they take the messaging that was in there to heart. So it's a must see. You got to go see it. Now, guys, if you haven't seen this movie, please shut it off. I'm not going to do tons of spoilers, but I do want to talk about a few things in this movie. So, spoiler alert goes up. I've given you fair warning. So this movie starts off with a sort of an origin story, but not the origin of Black Panther. It starts off with his father and his uncle, and they're in 1992 in California in a really bad neighborhood, and basically, basically Black Panther's father kills his own brother, and then leaves his brother's son in the United States and doesn't take him home. And this is a recurring theme throughout this movie, because that son turns out to be Michael B. Jordan, who is Killmonger. And so Killmonger finds a book with his history of Wakanda, and he spends the next 25 years of his life training. He becomes a SEAL, he becomes Black Ops for the CIA, and he's going around just training and killing people so that one day he can return to Wakanda and get revenge for his father being murdered by the king. And that story really starts this movie off with a bang. Now, this movie in a lot of places is a slow burn, and some people really don't like that. I love movies like that, because when you get a slow burn in a movie that leads up to a heavy climax, or a battle scene or something like that, it really gets me invested in these movies. So for me, it was just the perfect amount of storyline, character development, moving into action. The comedy, every time there was a joke in this movie, I was laughing out loud. That Marvel just has the recipe for comedy within these so serious stories to lighten the mood, to get you back into a great feeling, but you still know what happened. It was important to you. Again, I'm not going to get into huge spoilers here, but the end of this movie, when Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger's character, and Black Panther are fighting at the end, and the discussion going on between them about, should the Wakandans help all the Africans in the world, because, they have the technology and they could level the playing field. And the Black Panther, he says, you know what, no, we've never done that before. We keep to ourselves. And he goes, yeah, well, maybe it's time you don't keep to yourselves. And so he's stabbed. Black Panther stabs Killmonger. But he says, no, I can take you back and save you. And he goes, well, I've always wanted to see what Wakanda looks like. So they take him up on the cliff. And they have this moment. It was so moving to me, where he says, no, you know what? I'd rather die than live in a cage. So, you know what? I'm going to die like my ancestors did. They jumped off the boats rather than be kept in chains as slaves. And it was so powerful. It was such a powerful moment. And then he rips the spear out so that he'll bleed out and die. And he says, bury me in the ocean like my ancestors who jumped off the boats rather than become slaves. And that's what hit Black Panther the most, to come in for the end credit scenes. So there's two end credit scenes in this movie. The first end credit scene is Black Panther going in front of the United Nations and saying, we are now going to help the world and train the world, and you know what, bring back equality to the world. It was a great post-credit scene. And then the last post-credit scene sets us up for Avengers, where Bucky's been in Wakanda and they've healed him, and he comes out, and they talk about you have much more training to do. So obviously they're going to train Bucky in the ways of the Wakandans, so that when he comes back for Captain America Civil War, the Avengers Infinity War, it's going to be great. So again, this movie is fantastic. I hope you guys go and see it in the theaters this weekend. Please let me know in the comments section if you have seen the movie, what you thought of this movie. Give it a rating. Let me know what you think. Guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment in the comment section. And remember, everybody, nerds rule the world.